Hey, what's going on, guys, and welcome back to the Update. It's been a bit of a while since the last episode. I took a bit of a hiatus, if you will, had a little bit of a break, but we're back with episode number 9. As always, I'm kind of getting my words out today. I'm joined by a very special guest in the form of Brain or Brian. If you want to just say hello, pal.
Hello.
Hello. And obviously, the title of today's discussion, or what we're primarily going to be talking about, is to do with Call of Duty, as always, but the transition of kind of an amateur player to more of like a semi-pro professional kind of player, because obviously it's something that I actually get asked a fair bit on the YouTube side of things. People commenting saying like, you know, have you got any tips about how I can turn myself from an amateur player into, you know, a professional player, get my name out there, get on a big org and so on and so forth. So I think this is a pretty relevant video and topic, because obviously Brian, yourself, you've obviously kind of made that jump, if you will, since qualifying for the Premiership division in the Gfinity, and then also now your team is going to actually be attending the Gfinity Summer Championships, what we'll come on to talk about a bit later. But just to start things off, I just want to kind of let you give yourself an introduction, who you are, kind of how you got into competitive Call of Duty.
Well, hello, I'm Brian Pell. I'm 20 years old. I've been playing Call of Duty since COD 4, Call of Duty 4.
As always. Everyone's been playing since COD 4.
Yeah, it's a classic, it's a pinnacle for me. But yeah, we used to play, well, I wasn't really a competitive player back then. I'd say I got more into competitive, well, if you will.
Let me ask you this then. When was the first time you heard about competitive? Was it watching an event? Was it watching someone YouTube video stream? How did you actually hear about competitive Call of Duty?
Well, as a matter of fact, I had a mate from school, like, who was in a GB team.
Oh, okay, awesome. So you kind of got through it that route via GBs, and then you built your way up to Variant and so on.
Yeah, well, basically, I was originally on the PS3, like, when it was COD 4, when COD 4 was out. But he convinced us to buy a 360 and then come and play it on a website called Game Battles.
Yeah.
And pretty much ever since then, I've just been sweating COD, playing Game Battles.
Yeah.
Since God knows whenever, until around, like, Black Ops 1, when they kind of stopped playing.
Yeah.
We went to high school.
So what did you do then when he stopped playing? Did you find, like, were you at that point, did you know other people within the scene and able to play with them instead?
Actually, no, I didn't. I got fairly lucky, to be fair, because when I was playing Black Ops 1, I was just, when my mates stopped playing GBs, I was kind of too scared to play GBs by myself.
Okay.
So I'd just start pub stomping. I knew someone, there was someone I know from, like, the ebb of me called Crazar, and he was like, he was kind of famous at the time on that game because he was top of the leaderboards on like 6 different game modes for like score per minute.
That's not a bad record.
And then I was playing Search and Destroy, and then some guys just were like, they were in a team, but they've played, obviously they used to play the Certo with like scrims and all that kind of stuff. And they're like, do you know Crazar? Do you know who he is? And I was like, yeah. And they're like, okay, they added me as a friend. And then one of them played like the Certo and then introduced me to that.
Yeah.
So ever since like then, I kind of started proper playing competitive, but I believe I didn't take it serious until I'd say Ghosts, more or less, where I wanted to actually go live.
What made you change your perspective? Was it kind of the realization that this can actually go somewhere?
Yeah. Well, to be honest, I've always liked, if I do something, I'd want to be the best of it. Yeah,
you want to put 110% in.
Exactly. So I was like, I thought this is like a genuine thing I could just do as well, because I don't know. Like everything I used to do, like back in the day, like athletics and that. I used to do athletics and football.
Yeah.
I used to be really competitive at that, but I've got the Osgood
mentality comes from.
Exactly. I've got like the Osgood Slatters disease in my knee, which is like it really hurts us. So
you I kind of stop.
Yeah, I saw this as like an alternative, like gaming.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think with the person who introduced us to like proper competitive, you could say, like the Certo.
Yeah.
I'd say I teamed with him literally for a few years, like about 4 or 5 years.
Wow, that's a very long stint in Call of Duty terms, knowing that we have roster changes every other week. So, but then obviously back then the scene wasn't as developed, and obviously it was probably a lot harder to know who was the best, because obviously you rely on GB ladders and online and so on and so forth. So let's move forward a bit. Obviously you talk about Ghost was the game you started really taking serious. Did you attend any LANs in Ghost at all?
Yeah, I attended 2 LANs. One was AGL 12, I think, and then I-52. The only 2 LANs I actually went to on that game.
And how did you get on at them, and what teams were you with?
I was for EGL 12. I was just with it was with my mates really, or well, not my real life mates, but my Xbox mates.
Yeah.
Someone called Doctor.
Okay.
You might not know him. You probably wouldn't know him.
No.
But I
Not
teamed
clue.
with Doctor Zach, but he's now known as XLZ.
Oh, okay,
And
yeah, I'm with you.
someone called Viral Corey, but I think we only for that LAN we only played literally 2 days before the event because they thought I was dodging because they didn't believe I'd bought a ticket.
What?
So I don't know why. Yeah, and then I proved it to them
No.
2 days before, so we ended up grinding the last 2 days out, and then we came top 48. We got beat to Epsilon, who won the event, and
That's not too bad. You can't complain if you get beaten by the team that win the event. So
exactly. We got hammered but we got beat off. I can't remember who it was back then, but we got top 48. It went last map,
Yeah.
but the last map was a blitz because it was a best of 3.
oh
Literally,
yeah,
they got a
it's,
cap in the
it's
last
always
second.
the case at European lands. It's always a best of 3 up until the winners bracket semi, and
Final.
it's just yeah. So you obviously placed top 48 EGL 12. How did you get on at I-53? Was it you were saying
52.
52?
That was a lot better. We came top 12.
Okay, well that's a significant improvement. So what was the team like there? Well, it sounds like you were probably a lot more prepared considering going into
Definitely.
EGL 12. You only had about 2 days of practice properly.
Yeah, well, the team back then was Doctor again, obviously, who I teamed with for years.
Yeah, you
Z,
said.
who I've more or less teamed with since NW3, probably
Okay.
a bit earlier. And then someone called Xanta, but he's my real life mate. I know him in real life, and we've
Okay,
always
awesome.
played COD together. And we came top 12. We were a bit more practiced, but we did. Personally, I think we didn't get as much practice as the other teams would have. We played about a few hours a week, but it's still better than nothing, and we came top 12.
Exactly. I mean, we all know now that you have to really grind the game. You have to play it in and out every single day. Get on, GBs, 8, whatever it be. But considering at the time, it was probably you're putting in a lot of effort, and to place top 12, I think that's a pretty significant placing. So moving on, kind of into Advanced Warfare, where have you kind of taken your path? Kind of what route have you taken?
Oh well, it's completely changed actually on Advanced Warfare. I still teamed with Doctor and Z and that.
Yeah.
But then we had free tickets to I-53, but I didn't want to go because we'd only be playing
Yeah, I mean, it
one
was
day.
2 weeks after the launch of Advanced Warfare.
Yeah.
There was no uplink being played there. It was all kind of, no one really was prepared because
Exactly.
the game had only been out for a couple of weeks.
I was to me I know it kind of might seem a bit arrogant to say so, but the first LAN to me on any new game is irrelevant.
Yeah,
to me,
no,
because-
I would totally agree with that because we don't actually because things get changed so much with the publishers and so on. I couldn't agree more because the meta changes. When we first had this game drop, the bow was incredible. Every
Oh, yeah.
single match we saw
Four
four
player
bows, and now
bow,
it's
yeah.
not. It's only now we're seeing some kind of different weapons being used. So I can totally agree with that. So moving past I-54, whatever it was, where did we go from there?
I think the next LAN was pretty much I'm the pro, but apart from that, obviously the Gfinity Open qualifier.
Yeah.
There was nothing much going on from the year apart from COD champs. Obviously,
yeah,
I
totally.
used a pickup team for COD champs.
How
I
did
think
you get on there? Did you? Because I don't think you made it to regionals, did you? But
Nah.
how far
We
did
got-
you get in the online qualifiers?
Well, we got the second, the round before, you qualified for regionals.
Yeah.
We played Infused. We got beat to them 3-1, and then the second qualifier we got beat off away 3-0.
So two pretty high tier teams. Did you attend the first Am2 Pro or?
No,
you
I didn't.
attend? So next view was obviously the second one. What is
Yeah.
obviously. Well, no. Before that, it would have been the Gfinity online qualifiers. So how, if we kind of bring everyone up to speed, obviously, you ended up qualifying for the Gfinity Pro League, but it wasn't with the roster that you have now. I think the original roster you qualified was with yourself, Nolson, and then was it Juicy and Robs you qualified with?
Yeah, Juicy and Robs. I think Robs was pretty much a last minute thing because he hadn't played the game in I don't think he played the game at all actually. Or he hadn't played in 4 months.
So you did pretty well, in all fairness, to qualify if that was the situation.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
coming into it, from my understanding, there was quite a lot of hype actually around your team because you've been doing pretty well in the Gfinities and other various competitions
Yeah.
online. So I mean, going into it, did you because obviously online qualifier, I think it was single elimination. I think only the top team actually qualified, but there was
Yeah.
obviously 2 qualifiers. realistically going into it, did you expect to qualify? How confident were you going into it?
There was no doubt in my mind. No one, in my eyes, no one was taking off. Like, no one was beating us at all. Like on that day.
I mean, you got to have confidence at the end of the day. You can't go into it thinking, doubting yourself.
I went into the day thinking that we're going to absolutely tear it apart. It's going to be a bruise. We're going to absolutely dominate every team. But it wasn't so easy. We had a couple of close games. I believe we went last map with like Sawaz, GME, and all them. I think that shouldn't have been last map. No, actually, it was 3-1. They were our closest competition.
But still, I mean, either way you look at it, there's probably going to be a lot of tension knowing that it's single elimination. You know, you lose one series or you don't kind of clutch up or be on the form you were.
Yeah.
Then ultimately that's going to see you out the tournament and not even anywhere near the Gfinity Premiership.
Yeah, exactly. Like, there was so many games that could have went the other team's way, which could have potentially knocked us out.
Yeah.
But luckily on that day, I think pretty much everything went our way. I think we just clutched up when it mattered most.
You got a bit of luck.
Yeah, you need it.
It was this. I think it was it the first or second qualifier that you actually? I think it was the first, wasn't it?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, everyone.
So I mean, you got it straight away out of the way. You didn't have kind of even more pressure of going into that second qualifier, knowing this is it. Because I mean, in the first qualifier, obviously you have in the back of the head that if you do go out for whatever reason, you have that second qualifier, that second lifeline. So that's really good for yourselves to obviously qualify in the first one and obviously have that confidence going into the league. So moving forward. Whenabouts did it come that you actually dropped Robs and who else was it? Juicy. What kind of happened? Because we just spoke about it just before we started recording this. If you want to kind of give a little bit more information as to what kind of happened after you qualified.
Yeah, well, what happened after we qualified? We obviously went to the Gfinity League and like we did well there. And then I think at the time we wanted to we were thinking about dropping Juicy's pretty much after Ant the Pro because when we did have like a couple of times where we wanted to like leave him because he didn't like come on as much as we'd like, but then he said he would come on, but he didn't.
Yeah, and so then, he didn't really have that drive and commitment that you guys had.
He's more of like a gym guy. He likes selfies and all kind of stuff. But I think after like Ant the Pro was kind of like a done deal. We're like, that's it. We've got to do something about this because it was hurting. Because in scrims you just say like. We'd play the game right when we didn't, and then it's been so delusional over it. And we were just
how did you actually get on at Am2 Pro? Because I don't actually remember. I know you attended, but I don't actually remember even seeing you play at all or your placement.
Nah, we finished top 12, which was very disappointing.
Yeah. You beat Team Infused and Millennium. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, we placed the both of them, but to be honest, in my eyes, the results don't reflect how good some teams are. Like I don't get, maybe it's Millennium. I don't really rate Millennium. I think like they're in like a spell recently where they're just not as good.
Yeah.
But Infused, I was very surprised by because we played them a couple of times online. They were literally insane. Yeah. I don't know what happened there, to be honest.
Yeah, it was very bizarre how they ended up going out top 16. I mean, the fact that they lost the EQ and then I think they ended up losing to XL ultimately to be knocked out. But that's another story for another day. So you obviously talked about how you come top 12 and it was, I mean, before that, were you thinking at all of making roster changes? Were there any doubts about Robs and Juicy?
No, they can't be at the end of the day because it'll just affect how your team will play on the day. But there was no thought of like dropping them during LAN.
So it was only until after you placed top 12 and you were thinking, hang on, we really should be higher than this. We're in the Premiership, we should be doing better. Yeah,
don't get us wrong. Like Juicy and Robs weren't bad on LAN. Like Juicy was really good on LAN actually. But it's just like that. When you don't try online, you don't get anything from scrimming. You don't learn anything as a team. So therefore, you don't do as good. So that's why ultimately I feel we'll finish top 12. I think if we're putting the effort online, like scrimming and practicing and actually learning stuff, we could have actually got a really good placement. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So I mean, we finished top 12 because of it.
So it probably would have sucked a bit for Robs and Juicy because just after Am2 Pro, I think we were probably a couple weeks into the Pro League. But obviously, you have to make these decisions to benefit the team at the end of the day. And ultimately, you ended up going with Realize and Jake. How did this come about? Did you have them in mind straight after, or were they on teams and then they left? How did it work?
I think after the LAN, Realize was saying get back to us on Monday when you get back. It was on the Sunday. He was saying that after we'd finished. So I went and spoke to him. I kind of always wanted a team with Realize in the sense because I think he's a good player. He's got a good attitude. He always like he hates losing, so he'll always like keep you on your feet. Like
you
trying.
always want to play like that because they're always going to have that determination.
Yeah, and then I think we're LF1 for a while. We're tweeted out and all that kind of stuff. We kept options open. I don't want to rush into anything because I don't want to waste any like time with someone with like potentially bad attitude or whatever.
Yeah.
And so we ended up getting Jake, and then we were playing with him for a few days, and then he's like into that. He hates losing obviously, but he isn't short as much. He learns a lot from like COD. Like he's very like interested in learning. He's always wanting to get better and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And he's a good player, obviously. So we thought he'd be the right fit for our team, definitely. And I feel now with this team, they can like do some serious damage next season in the league.
Yeah.
Probably, hopefully. I think we're not obviously not going to I-55 because Masters is on, but we're going to attend the City LAN, and then I think that's pretty much the last LAN, unless there's another Masters.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, just to kind of wrap it up. I mean, it's an incredible kind of timeline of events for yourself because obviously you've been kind of around esports and Call of Duty esports for a very long time, it seems, and it seems like you've gradually kind of made progressions up and up and up. I mean, for you, what was there any kind of defining moment when like you knew that kind of you were going somewhere? I mean, because obviously everyone starts out with the aspiration of looking up to these players that are winning events and in the pro league and so on and so forth, but for you, was there ever a moment that you could define as you kind of stepping up from maybe an amateur player to a semi-pro/pro player?
Probably the pro league, because I think before then, like everyone just seeing us, like me and Nelson especially, as like online players.
Yeah,
and
it's always the case until you kind of make it into that select group. It's always like, oh, you're just warriors, you're just online players. Yeah. We'd absolutely destroy you on LAN. What is always the common phrase.
Yeah. But, well, to be fair, I mean, in terms of, like, quote, being a LAN player, I wouldn't say I've proved myself yet, because the top 12 finish to me is not, like, I can't just go around on Twitter saying, oh, I'm a LAN player.
Precisely, because obviously, you've ended up finishing, I think, 6th in the Pro League, but obviously that's online as well. It doesn't really count. I mean, just going back a bit, how did you actually get on at the first week of games for the Gfinity Pro League? Because obviously they were on LAN. Who did you end up playing, and what were the scores?
We played on LAN, we'd played Infused the first day.
Yeah.
We'd lost 4-2. We literally choked about 3. It should have been a 5-1 to us, to be honest.
Okay.
But we lost 4-2. The second match was against Over Gaming, who were beat 5-1.
Yeah, I feel a bit sorry for Over, because I think they ended up I think they got 1 draw and the rest losses throughout the Pro League. So I do feel a bit sorry for them, but at the end of the day, competition's competition. So you didn't do too bad, considering. I mean, Infused, as you talked about, a very, very good team. So to lose 4-2 and potentially, if you clutched up in a certain scenario, it would have been maybe a 3-3, 4-2 in your favour. So I don't think that's too bad coming off the bat at the start of the Pro League. So I mean, going forward, it's going to be very interesting. Obviously, you ended up finishing 6th, in the Gfinity Pro League for the Premiership. Tell me about what happened.
I think it was 5th actually.
Pardon?
I think it was 5th. I think it may have been 5th, not 6th, because I think Millennium and Gamers 2 are playing a tiebreak again.
No, you are right. Yeah, no, why am I saying 6th? Yeah, Gamers 2 was 6th, you were 5th. Yeah, because obviously you got the win against Millennium. Yeah, I do apologise for that. But talk me through what happened with the Gfinity Summer Championship, because you actually did qualify VWS as a team a few weeks before Am2 Pro. But obviously a couple of things happened with yourself, and just talk me through what happened.
Well, there was an online qualifier. Nick had found it. Nelson had found it. So we're like, okay, let's sign up. Let's win this. Let's qualify for Masters. Just get it wrapped up.
Yeah.
So we ended up playing. It was very dead. It was like 16 teams. So we beat everyone there pretty easily. Ended up qualifying, and then like about a week later, I'd clicked on that I had a holiday when Gfinity Masters was on. I was just like, oh no.
So you're like, crap, I can't play.
Yeah, I felt so bad because they couldn't go. And I know how much like time like Nelson and that puts into the game. And I just felt proper bad for him.
Yeah.
Because he pretty much like lives for it. But and then I was just like, oh no way, like I've actually messed with team up here, because the other qualifier was when Am2 Pro was on.
Yeah. So obviously because you were at the event, you couldn't actually qualify. So
I was just like, oh no.
Yeah. But obviously, now moving forward, I mean, when this goes live, I don't know if this will be news or not, it may be old news, but obviously you've actually regained your spot, but you obviously won't be playing. Just talk me through what's happened.
For the Masters,
Yeah.
well, basically I'm on holiday for Masters. I think one of the teams that originally were going to Masters dropped out, so we luckily got the spot back.
Yeah.
But we're the roster's obviously not including me, so the roster will be Nolson, Jake, Realize, and Sunny B.
Yeah, so
I
basically
think-
Sunny B in for yourself.
Yeah, Sunny B subbed for myself. It was pretty much just a decision made straight away because we had no time. But I feel he's a strong pickup anyway. He's got experience along with Realize. I think he can take like at this event. I think we can do some damage. I think we get a good placement. I mean, I hope we do good, but
Yeah, I
only
mean,
time will
obviously you'll be rooting for the boys while you're on your vacation wherever. But it'd be interesting. So I mean, just kind of going back to the overall aim and kind of the point we're trying to get across with this video about kind of amateur to pro. You've obviously just heard Brian's story of how kind of a timeline of events of how he's gone from just being a nobody, basically worked his way up, got to know a couple of people in the scene. I mean, for you, in terms of advice, what would you give to someone who is aspiring to be someone like yourself, making the Gfinity Premiership? I mean, is there any kind of particular method of doing it? Obviously, we have a lot of resources now moving forward, unlike what we had when probably you started out. So is there anything you'd recommend for players kind of aspiring?
Well, just if you were to like wanted to qualify for the Pro League, I'd say obviously get an 18+ team of people that you enjoy playing with. So if you enjoy playing with people, you'll do better as a team.
Yeah.
And it will show in the game. Also, if you also just put the effort in online, just grind the game out because the more time you put in the game, better individually it'll be. But at the end of the day, it's a 4-man game. You have to remember that, and just remember always to work as a team. It's obviously being good, having good gun skill is helpful, but working as a team and being aware.
The team wins, the team loses. You don't individually lose or win. Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, for you, I mean, I always kind of perceive the best way to go about it is kind of networking. It's obviously getting that team to start off with and consistently, you know, playing in these Gfinities and stuff and kind of getting your name out there and ultimately networking and kind of, you know, stepping stone yourself up and up teams. I mean, is that something that you can relate to?
Stepping up? Probably, yeah, because I'd say, like, obviously before we qualified for the Gfinity Pro League, we'd never, like, actually play anyone good. But now that we've qualified for the Gfinity Pro League, we've become much better as a team. Like in game, like I've learned a lot more as well. Like because from qualifying for the Pro League, obviously you play against top teams more often. You get like more recognition.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because obviously you're playing, you know, a Super 6 series every week against a different top tier team. So it's really good practice. Because I mean, obviously, ultimately, if you are an amateur team or an amateur organisation or whatever, I think probably one of the hardest things is probably finding that competition to scrim against, because obviously if you're scrimming against, like, if you're on league play or ranked or whatever, ultimately you're not going to be playing against anyone near the level you are, and I feel like that's probably maybe one of the hard points. I mean, for yourselves, was it quite hard to sometimes find scrims in practice?
Rarely get scrims as well, like all the time. It's so hard. Yeah. Especially sometimes as well, like before, like we've qualified for the Pro League, we get knocked out the GFIN early, and then there's no like decent team scrimming.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously a massive beneficial now is the fact that there is the Gfinity. So obviously, if you're, I think that's probably one of the main places to start if you are from Europe. You know, start with the Gfinity, get a team, you know, regularly participate in it, because at the end of the day, that's where the biggest teams normally compete. So I mean, you've got no better opportunity to play some of the best competition in Europe and ultimately learn some things from them and just make a name for yourself. Because I feel like the more you play in the Gfinity and various other tournaments, and also obviously a 10 LAN, the more kind of people are going to recognise you and see you around the scene. Yeah,
100%. I'd say from the Gfinity Pro League, I've definitely got a lot more recognition.
Yeah.
I think if I didn't qualify for the Pro League, I'd probably still be in like square one. I wouldn't have the team I would have now.
For you, since you qualified for the Gfinity Premiership, has it been a lot easier to kind of find scrims against these bigger teams? Because obviously you're playing them regularly, you probably, you know, exchange messages and communicate with them regularly as well. So has it been a lot easier now you're more recognised as a top tier team in Europe?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. It's ever since qualified,
Yeah.
definitely. I can't remember one time I've played a top team in a scrim when I haven't been in the Gfinity Pro League. So it definitely
So it's
has
been
helped.
just a massive kind of boost for you in
Yeah.
terms of practicing and stuff.
I think to be fair, though, like I think GC and Rob's kind of helped us well in terms
Yeah,
of
because
getting
they're
better quality
quite
scrim.
known already in the scene.
Yeah, they're known and experienced, and they've done good before. Yeah, I think they helped us well. I mean, I don't think obviously without GC and Rob's, I probably wouldn't be in the Pro League. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a fair comment. I mean,
oh,
we
go on.
we have to remember as well, obviously, like if you don't necessarily have to aspire to get in the Premiership because obviously there is the Championship and divisions below that. So ultimately, Gfinity are networking kind of a platform, a route kind of system where you can start in one league and work your way up. So I mean, I think what Gfinity are doing is probably a massive aid. I mean, would you say that if we didn't have Gfinity in the scene, would be a massive disadvantage?
Definitely, most certainly, yeah. Yeah, I think Gfinity are doing a very good job at the moment in terms of like
Yeah.
promoting like the EU scene.
Yeah,
But
'cause, I
yeah,
mean, they're doing so much online, aren't they, for yourselves in terms of different
Exactly.
things like the Pro League and also regular cups.
Exactly, like if there was no Gfinities, there'd be nothing else to do apart from like GB tournaments, game battles tournaments.
Yeah,
Apart of maybe Fun Cups, but no one wants to play a Fun Cup. No one wants to play for like nothing at the end of the day.
yeah.
Like
You,
obviously,
you want to have a bit of a financial incentive there, don't you?
Yeah. External factors. Yeah, I think Gfinity. Yeah, if it wasn't for Gfinity, probably the EU scene would be dead in terms of like
I think it's a fair comment.
competition and everything.
I think Gfinity really put a lot of time and effort into Call of Duty. They've really kind of taken it under their wing in terms of kind of nurturing it and taking charge of the European side of things. So yeah, it's definitely really good that we have Gfinity in the scene. I think if I mean if I was starting out as an amateur player, well, I probably would be because I'm just god awful at Call of Duty or no one anywhere like your level. But you know, I would probably go towards someone like Gfinity and do their cups and stuff like that, and ultimately just practice because I mean how important is practice for yourself? How highly do you rate practice in terms of Call of Duty? Like, is it something that is a necessity, or is it more about kind of chemistry, communication, stuff like that?
Scrimming probably is, in my eyes, the most important thing because obviously, in my eyes, tournaments are like showing like what you can do, like
Yeah.
at your best of ability. You don't
Tournaments
like
are where you're going to impress someone.
you don't go into a tournament saying, "Oh, I want to try this out for the first time." Like in scrims, you use that for like trying new stuff out,
Yeah.
like trying to like improve as a team in the game, see what's best for you, like finding your feet as a team and like
Yeah.
being on the same page. So I'd say scrimming's definitely important. Like the more you scrim and like learn in the game and work together and improve your chemistry and all that, like the better you'll be at LAN. Like
Yeah,
when
so
it comes
it
to like
seems
important
like
things.
scrims, if anything, are as important as competitions and paid tournaments, because obviously you talk about how you can have a trial and error system where you may try different things. You may have someone running a sub instead of an AR and so on and so forth. So yeah, I couldn't agree any more with what you just said there. Just to kind of wrap things up, want to kind of get last couple of words from yourself in regards to advice you would give to maybe someone who is in your position so many years ago, is just starting out as an amateur player, wanting to make the kind of the step up and get into the scene. Is there anything else that you can kind of provide in terms of what they need to know and what they don't need to know?
Yeah, don't cause trouble on Twitter. Like, just be respectful. Don't. Obviously, some people in the EU scene, I'm not going to name any, are a bad example. Sometimes I can let myself go a bit. But you just make friends, don't make enemies. It'll benefit you a lot more.
If you make enemies, you're burning basically bridges with teams you could potentially be on.
Exactly, or potentially play. Don't settle. If you are scrimming, make sure you play the best teams possible. Don't just sit there saying, "Oh, these are too hard. I'm not learning anything. Let's play someone easy," because you'll not be good.
I always see like losing as learning, because I mean, yes,
Exactly.
you may lose, but you can go back if you've recorded it and just be like, "Hey, look, we didn't rotate early enough there. Hey, look, you were meant to push that. You didn't push out the spawn," and so on and so forth. So yeah, Definitely can agree with that. But this is pretty much going to wrap up this episode of the Hub Date, guys. Obviously, you know, if you want to interact with the show, you want to give us any topics that you want us to talk about, get people on to talk about various things, do use that hashtag the Hub Date on Twitter. Just want to say a massive thank you to you, Brian. Obviously, we wish you all the best going forward. You obviously have retained your spot in the G Premiership, so we'll be seeing you very, very soon competing in that. Enjoy your holiday. I think it's very well deserved. Just going to ask, where are you off to?
Malia.
Okay, not bad. I can't complain. Yeah, that's not bad. So yeah, enjoy that. Hopefully, VWS do you proud while they're at the G Summer Championships. But my name's been Tommy. Brian, if you just want to say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, everyone.
If you want to shout out anyone, any sponsors, anything, any last words?
Just shout out to my team, not BWS_Brain, obviously with 3 A's. Nolson.
Yeah, it's on the overlay. Everything's on the overlay, so you can see it. You can go and follow him on Twitter if you want.
Follow at BWS_Gaming too. Big shout out to them because they get way around and help out a lot. I appreciate that. Anyone that supports her really or wants me to do well, thank you, I guess.
Awesome stuff. Well, again, thank you for coming on, guys. This is going to wrap up this episode. So we'll see you next week with a brand new episode. My name's been Tommy. That's been Brian. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Yep.